You say goals restrict your happiness.
There's some implicit promise internally that once I get to this goal, then I'll be happy. Once I write a New York Times bestseller, then I'll feel better about it. Once I achieve this certain number on the scale, then I'll be happy with my body. Once I get to $1 million in revenue, then I'll be happy with the business. And so you're kind of constantly pushing happiness off to the next milestone and thinking that once you get there, then finally you'll be satisfied. I think, in fact, the better way to do it is to fall in love with the process, to fall in love with the lifestyle. Then you can be happy along the way and still achieve the goals as you go, still achieve the milestones. And so the healthiest answer, maybe the answer is yes, I don't know. But the healthiest answer that I've come up with is imagine like an acorn falls from a tree. It manages to take root, becomes a seedling and then a sapling, and eventually grows into this mature oak tree. And at no point in that process, when it was just an acorn, it wasn't criticizing itself for not being a sapling. It was just a sapling. It wasn't criticizing itself for not being an oak. It wasn't dissatisfied with where it was at. And nobody came over and was criticizing it for, oh, I can't believe you're not a full-grown tree yet. But it kept growing the whole time. So simultaneously, you have this thing where it was both perfect at each stage that it was at. Nothing was wrong, and yet it continued to grow. And the reason is because that's just what an oak tree does. That's what it is encoded to do. It is encoded for growth. And so when I look at myself, I think if I put myself in the right position, that's how I feel about it. I am perfectly happy with where I'm at each stage, and yet I'm encoded to grow, right? I'm encoded to keep going. And so I can both be driven and be satisfied. I can both be appreciative of the moment and still moving forward. And I think that works best when you find that thing. Sometimes we call it your strengths. Sometimes we might say it's what you're encoded to do. But when you find that thing that is well aligned for you, and if you do find that, then you can have both of those.